Hello, everyone. This is Just a Bank Minute. I'm Ethan Heisler.
And I'm Van Hesser.
And today we've got some pretty big news, I guess, that we heard, Van. BB&T and SunTrust, pretty amazing information.
A big bank merger, which we haven't really talked about in 10 years. The merger driven, it appears, by what a lot of bankers have been talking about, whether you're a community bank or whether you're the largest bank, and that is how technology, rather, is transforming the banking industry. I think, and I love this quote pulled off Bloomberg this morning, but the companies mentioned technology, digital, and innovation more than a dozen times in their release. This is clearly a driver of the merger between the two companies. It also reinforces the theme at the community banking level. I just came back from Acquire or Be Acquired, the conference for community banks out in Phoenix. And that theme, very much around the strategic future of community banking and whether banks should be sellers or acquirers, that theme of technology, again, underpins a lot of the strategic discussions that we see even at the community banking level. So clearly this is part of the banking landscape today, part of the C-suite discussions around strategy, and we expect to hear a lot more about this going forward, and quite possibly a lot more on the merger and acquisition front. One other theme, Ethan, that came out in the conference was the continuing issue of deposit betas and the price or the pricing pressure, I think, on deposit gathering. It feels to me like that switch flipped in the last quarter or so, where that deposit pricing pressure has come up. What have you seen in the fourth quarter on the deposit side?
Yeah, well, I mean, actually, Van, I think we've seen it all of last year. Deposit repricing beta just started to move much, much faster. One of the things that impressed me was the shift by depositors from non-interest bearing into interest bearing deposits. So that was going on, although it's interesting that the overall level of non-interest bearing deposits is still twice as high as it was before the financial crisis. So that was interesting. The other thing that you've started to see is now that the Fed is starting to come to the end of the rate hiking cycle, deposit beta probably has peaked as well. We're seeing it around 45–50% in the last 2 quarters. Those numbers look like they're sort of doing this.
Right.
So remains to be seen. Obviously, if the Fed starts raising rates again, this will be different. But, you know, I think that the next step is where banks start to see margins start to tail off and profit pressures then start to come back into the equation.
Well, banks are making a lot of money these days. They've got a lot of room theoretically to compete away on the pricing side. We'll see how it plays out in the future.
Okay, well, if you want to hear more of this discussion between Van and myself, we'd invite you all to tune into Bank Talk, the podcast. And again, good to see you all. This is Ethan Heisler.
And Van Hesser.
We'll see you later.